there's no one deck you're really afraid of. You're kind of teching against the general field. And so it ends up having this thing where, like, if my opponent bans the warrior, then my druid ban is like this. And then if I choose to ban something else, then my percentages change. So it ends up coming down to a mind game. And both of these guys are deep thinkers. So I'm curious to hear their perspective. We'll probably have to ask Firebat next Omnistone.
Yeah. All right, well, it will be purple starting things off with a Dire Mole here. Secret Keeper was a keep in his hand, but found himself another 1-drop with no secret. The Dire Mole is more resilient. Firebat with a pretty powerful start available from the Token Druid deck. Wild Growth into either Serenade Changang or Whispering Woods. But purple does have Deathstalker Rexar and Mossy Horror, so he has lots of good AoE clear for the potential boards that Firebat can build.
Yep, but Firebat has that wild growth, kind of like you were talking about. And when Token Druid gets off running, they can stall Secret Hunter for a long time. We saw it earlier today. The Mossy Heart wasn't just enough to get the Token Druids and stop them where they're at. So purple really needs a fast start, and the Dire Moles are okay. Where's the Spellstones at?
Well, there could be 6 Wisps right here from Whispering Woods if Firebat wants to fire that off right now. He is several turns away from either Rexar or Mossy Horror coming online, and has that Soul of the Forest. So he has the ability to build potentially a powerful board here. One thought that I actually had last turn was that purple could have played out this Secret Keeper then to help contain a little bit of the threat of a Whispering Woods board. Because now he's only able to kill 2 of these. There's Soul of the Forest or Changang or Swipe all available to Firebat here. It's interesting to see how he navigates this, because he doesn't actually have any buffs in his hand as far as attack buffs are concerned. So he has no way to actually make the board more threatening to purple's life total, and actually can't even trade off everything without using Swipe here. So I wonder if he may even just play a Changang, just to sort of solidify his board against purple's presence here. Looks like Soul of the Forest is what he is leaning toward. Interestingly, he chose to play both the Whispering Woods and Soul of the Forest from the right-hand side of his hand rather than the ones he had from earlier. But yeah, gonna go ahead and trade off here. This is a kind of a tough decision, because there's a number of cards that will buff the Secret Keeper, a number of cards that will also buff Dire Mole. There's more secrets in the deck than there are Houndmaster / Crackling Razor Maws, so does decide to take out the Secret Keeper. Yeah, and Secret off the top. Spellstone only for 2 wolves.
Yeah, and in purple's mind, he needs to just stay alive. This Deathstalker Rexar can maybe help deal with the board if it just ends up staying like this. And Firebat has his 2nd Soul of the Forest, but we'll see how he ends up navigating this. Looks like he was thinking about Swipe initially to clear it off, perhaps stalling a little bit, because his hand seems to be very good if he had more mana crystals, right? This is what you want to ramp to, so you can Soul of the Forest with Chain Gang or Whispering Woods. Not really necessarily in this position, though.
It's an awkward spot for him, because thanks to the Rexar and Mossy Horror in purple's hand, which of course Firebat does not know about but can suspect may be there, his treants here are not necessarily super threatening. He's going to go ahead and Soul the Forest.
And he's going to push damage from here?
He could push damage. He is at 21, so he's a little bit low against the deck with kill commands, and of course the Rexar hero power. Yeah, he is going to go ahead and push, though. Yeah. And this, I think, is a little bit of a compromised play against the threat of, say, Rexar or Mossy Horror, because if he did trade in here, he would have more of his board immediately cleared as well. And this way, he could potentially, if these 2 trade in, he could potentially finish things off with a Swipe and kill the other remaining 2 unbodies.
Right.
Or rather, 3 unbodies. Or maybe purple's just setting these both to face.
Yeah, I mean, because he has that Mossy Heart, he's not afraid of Firebat's list because he doesn't have any Power of the Wild.
Yeah, it's still scary if these get buffed up with, say, Branching Path. Suddenly Mossy Horror isn't an actual answer to them.
Yep, that's fair. And also with Deathstalker Rexar, you're much less aggressive compared to having the Steady Shot hero power, so this makes a lot of sense too.
Yeah, purple has now, with the Build the Beast hero power, can go and find things like Bloatbat, things like Cave Hydra that can give him the ability to AoE off the boards that Firebat may build. And in particular with the Mossy Horror in hand, he has an answer to an initial Spreading Plague as long as it isn't immediately buffed by Strong Shell Scavenger. He can answer Serenade Changang or Whispering Woods. So Purple is in a pretty strong spot here in terms of being able to both push the long game power as well as answer what Firebat has.
It's like an aggressive push from Firebat, wants to swipe the face. I was thinking, like, doesn't he want an extra token? Not if he's just going straight to the dome. And that's something that Firebat made a career off of back in 2014, hitting a lot more aggressively than other people were.
Yeah, well, this aggressive push is going to hit a snag in the form of Mossy Horror, smashing them all. Zero Keeper coming down, so now Purple has the board and the long game power of that Rexar hero power. Firebat, he could say Chain Gang Floop here. That would give him a pretty meaningful board, but he doesn't have any real way to buff them up. There's no branching paths or Strong Shell Scavenger available right now. Gonna go ahead and just Spreading Plague, and I think this makes more sense because these aren't immediately threatened by the board that Purple has. He could even play this Tyrant just now, play the Floop as a Tyrant to help fight for the board. I feel like he needs more immediate presence, because he can't just play a long game trying to find a way to deal with what Purple has thanks to the power of the Rexar hero power.
Yep, it's a really good point. If he picks up damage through branching paths next turn or Savage Roar, that could be the end of the game.
I think that was a Cave Hydra, and he immediately took something. I think it was probably the Hydra. So good at dealing with these sort of boards, but no immediate rush, yeah.
Cave Hydra, just no Hailmaster Shaw in hand.
The Divine Shield Poisonous on Basilisk gives you a 3/5, which obviously kills anything in an AoE that hits. Yeah, he took a Wind Fury, okay. Took that rather than the Divine Shield Poisonous because he wants to play a Wandering Monster. The Wandering Monster does defend him against any kind of roar effect, potentially. And still the 3/5 is pretty scary. Nourish is a great draw for Firebat. Find 3 cards. See a little bit of an eye roll there from Purple. Finds Infestation, so he is ready to reload. It was looking...
Man.
It was looking like Purple had the long game power, but now with that...
Yeah, with the Ultimate Infestation, now Firebat doesn't have to necessarily rush out damage like he was before. It seemed like he was valuing the tempo over being able to squeeze out value from his cards, like getting multiple scares with, more than 2 scares with the Spreading Plague. But now with Ultimate Infestation, he can take it a little bit slower.
Yep, now he does have that Scavenger picked up off the Nourish. Suddenly, these are much scarier Scarabs.
Yep.
Scarier Scarabs.
Yes. Super scary Scarabs.
Okay, gonna find it is Wandering Monster.
Waits for no one.
Runs into a 3/3, and yeah, it's gonna play some cleanup here. And continue to push Purple.
Very much threatening lethal at this point too, because I mean it's close, and then you think, man, if he just has Ultimate Infestation or if he has any kind of buff, I die. So Purple needs to set up some kind of defense. Gets the Zombeast with Bloatbat, but no way to activate it unless he can get Taunt via Crackling Razor Maw.
Let's see, Grimace from Purple did not find what he's looking for. So there's 12 on board here, so I believe that is just lethal with the Infestation.
Yes, that's right. So Ultimate Infestation going to close it out, and Firebat's Token Druid will get over the hump. That is one of the difference makers in this best of 5. I looked up a little bit of the data simulating. Shout out to Josh Goodman, one of the statisticians out there in Hearthstone.
One interesting element of Firebat's specific card selection is he actually has oozes in almost all of his decks, except for his Druid deck. He even has a copy of Acidic Swamp Ooze in Hunter. He has a copy of Gluttonous Ooze in his Odd Rogue, as well as Gluttonous Ooze in his Warrior deck. So he's really well positioned to deal with Super Collider out of the Odd Warrior deck from Purple, which makes a lot of sense in terms of his decision to leave it up.
Right, so if he's teching against the weapon with Weapon Hate, he's much more comfortable going against Warrior. Plus, if he knows his opponent's going to most likely leave up Token Druid, he'll have that head-to-head advantage. So Firebat with a 1-0 lead, going to start off with Dire Mole into a Secret. And that's the kind of start that you need, but you need a little bit more if you're a Secret Hunter trying to stop the aggression. Oh boy.
Ooh, that's actually a really good draw from Firebat here. The Snake Traps plus Wandering Monster means your opponent is kind of in a bind. If they attack your minion, well, they get Snake Trap, you get snakes. If they attack your face, well, they trigger a Wandering Monster, which triggers Snake Trap, which gives you many, many more minions as well.
That's right. It introduces a lot of logistical issues. But Purple's attack to the face reveals that he basically just never wants to directly attack his minion, and this SI7 agent ends up being a huge savior in this situation.
Yeah, Purple also has that Tar Creeper in hand. We heard some talk about it in the last series. Tar Creeper just being so good at protecting your minions from opposing minions. Firebat picking up the Spellstone there. All right, it's going to be pretty big. Does get a small minion here for his Wandering Monster, just a 2/2.
But now it activates the Snake Trap, which is a double whammy. Purple lost his minion in the attack.
He is getting this Tar Creeper, though. And there is barely enough to take down the Tar Creeper if he wants. Purple not going to go ahead and take any trade here, which, ooh, okay. Well, this is an interesting option for Firebat here because the Houndmaster Shaw with Spellstone next turn threatens to be quite powerful, but Wandering Monster into Snake Trap into kill your Tar Creeper means that he has a 4 Wolf Spellstone next turn, and it's putting Purple in a bind in terms of his ability to attack and face this turn. So I definitely like Firebat's line of play here, getting the most power from it as possible. We'll see what the Wandering Monster is. Ooh, another weak one. So pair of 2/2s, see a little bit of bug eyes from Firebat. Really? Again?
Yeah, and this second Tar Creeper.
Yeah, this protects the 3/1, which is huge.
It's pretty funny how Tar Creeper has completed a full cycle. It first started off as pretty bonkers from the Ingoro days, and then people started phasing it out, saying it was a little bit too weak for what it wants, and now, once again, it's a really powerful card in the field.
Speaking of powerful, there's a 4-Wolf Spellstone. Oh, but Fungalmancer is the draw from Purple. This is going to allow Fungalmancer between the Dire Mole and the Tar Creeper can kill 2 of the wolves, or just go face.
What are we afraid of if we just attack face and ignore the board? The potential of, I think, like Leok, I guess, is the worst case scenario off of Animal Companion. I don't know. I guess, yeah, no matter what, they're going to get Houndmaster value. They're always going to have beasts that they can use for kill commands. Deathstalker Rexar is one thing to also consider on 6.
All right, well, there is an Animal Companion available. Ooh, and a Crackling Razor Maw.
Amazing. Amazing draw here for Firebat. He can first adapt and see what he gets, so then either play Animal Companion or Hound.
Hitting the 1/1 makes... Ooh, he would have loved to get any offensive adapt on the 1/1. Divine Shield or Health are both pretty unfortunate here. Whereas if he had gone on a 3/3, the potential defensive options are certainly stronger.
Yeah.
Interesting. He actually just immediately went in the 1/1. I'm trying to think. The only thing that's way better to get in the 1/1 is Poisonous.
+3 attack is fine.
+3 attack is also good, but if you get +3 attack on a bigger minion, that's also like +1/+1 on one of the 3/3s allows you to straight trade to the Tar Creeper. I'm just trying to figure out like what the number of options are that are like good or bad with either possibility. Well, it's a Leok anyway, so it doesn't need the +1/+1.
Who are you to question 2014 world champion?
I'm just trying to math things out here.
You're completely right. That's actually what you're supposed to do in that situation.
But the plus health on the snake does allow it to get some good trades here. Value trading the board.
Yes, very much so.
But this value trade of a bunch of 1 health minions does make a Giggling Inventor quite strong. There's 4 attacks, which will all go into Annoyotrons. And who's gonna go with Vilespine? Okay. Either way. This takes a lot of power off the board and leaves him with the possibility of Giggling Inventor to protect these. Another Spellstone, though no secret to go with it. But will still power up. Yeah, it's going to be trading off.
Yeah, Firebat just trying to start turning on the pressure on the Rogue because that was the first damage he dealt all game to Purple's life total. Like you mentioned, though, the Giggling Inventor could be massive. Does Firebat have anything to deal with this?
Just has 4 attacks on board. Houndmaster, well, even 3 after this takes something down. Houndmaster into, say, Flanking Strike. I don't think he's flanking in his deck. Secret Keeper? It's actually not bad. The Secret Keeper gives him an attack that can break a Divine Shield, so you can at least kill all the Annoying.
I guess. It's like an Elven Archer.
Well, it's also up against a bunch of 1 health minions after the fact, too.
Sure, yeah.
Now he could choose to trade both of these into this Annihilatron.
Oh, that just feels so bad.
It's going to get traded somehow. This attack does give him the ability to leave. You know,
oh my goodness.
Ooh.
Oh wow, what a draw from Purple. Battle Spine to shut down the Houndmaster Shaw. Now Firebat's comeback potential has weakened significantly.
Absolutely nothing on the board or in hand for Firebat. He needs a big draw. He needs Subject 9, Rexar. He finds Tracking. That can find Subject 9. That can find Rexar. That's Rexar.
That's Rexar.
Look at Purple's expression as the insta-pick, shake of the head. There is still a Vicious Fledgling in play, and that can get out of hand very quickly.
Yeah.
But if it does not get out of hand, and Firebat has a strong set of Discovers here, all ones, Lifesteal Rush.
Yeah, Lifesteal Rush is
The
good.
Vicious Scalehide is very powerful, connected to basically anything.
Yeah, Jewel McCall, a nice pickup too, considering that Firebat will most likely float mana.
Ooh.
That is
a
pretty good.
It is the strongest card in your deck,
Wind Fury.
technically speaking. Wind Fury and stealth potentially to protect it from, say, a Rush minion.
Yeah, Stealth is really nice. Your opponent already has played Rexar, so that is the only way they can deal with a Stealth minion. Unless they pick up a Zombiest.
Yep, he could get Poisonous Rush Cave Hydra, which would kill the board.
That's true. The Cave Hydra Rush combo here would be pretty nasty.
No Cave Hydra, though. There's a Timberwolf. I think he wants something cheap.
Yes.
All right, well, there's never playing green. He gets something real cheap.
Yeah, in fact, he has enough mana to even just play Tracking or whatever beast he gets off of the Jewel McCall.
So I think what he wants is to rush down something, see what he gets. Timberwolf, we got a lot of cheap things.
It's not the worst thing in the world.
He can play the Zombiest here. He's looking for Freezing Trap, but he doesn't know that there is a South Sea Deckhand in the hand already.
The Razor Maw is interesting.
Razor Maw could be good. You get Poisonous potentially on this.
Yes. Poisonous would be fantastic.
Not available. I think he'd rather get the +1/+1 to get a little bit more life. I don't have exact eyes on the life total right now.
He's in the mid-teens, I believe.
Right, and he's facing 15 on board, right? Because of the +1, or rather the Wind Fury, I think Divine Shield. Not a
the high teens.
Yeah, high teens, not mid-teens. All right. Well,
the ideal teens. Well, in this case, Purple. Oh my goodness gracious!
15+6.
That should be enough.
We'll see what 21, I think.
Will
right?
happen.
He has. Oh, but yeah, the Wind Fury could get any kind of buff. Doesn't get it.
He still has the damage.
Yeah, he still does have just enough damage here to get things over. Oh yeah, I was missing the double damage from it because it was going on the Wind Fury minion.
Right. Yeah.
At first looking up, like that's +4. He was 5 away. No, that's +8. Thanks to the Wind Fury on that Flappy Bird, and Purple takes down game number 2 to tie up the series. You saw Purple, he had great sequencing in terms of trying to figure out what that trap was. He attacked the face with his Argent Squire. It's like, okay, now I know that's either Venom Strike or Snake Trap. I'm going to coin out this SI and make it so that you don't get any value. Firebat did get Unfortunate Wandering Monsters. He got a pair of 2/2s. But that ends up being pretty impactful because he wasn't able to get great trades in with them, the bodies later on. They didn't kill the things that attacked in immediately, so every single one of those little things can snowball to the victory that Purple had. Speaking of things that can snowball, Deathstalker Rexar, the opening hand for Firebat, the single most important card in this particular matchup. I would go so far as to say it is the only card that matters in the Hunter deck in this particular matchup. We actually talked quite a bit about this exact matchup recently on Omnisome with Firebat, and he was saying that he played like 2.5-hour games because you can go so deep into fatigue with Deathstalker Rexar against the Odd Warrior, and you just spend the entire game building beasts. So everyone out there, grab a snack, sit back, relax. This is going to be a while.
Yes, if you have some chores and responsibilities, then by all means, keep Hearthstone open on the side tab, but we'll probably still be here when you're done.
Yeah, it is usually not the Hunter matchup, so you think like, Resident Sleeper or whatever, but no, this specifically is all about resource battle and fatigue, because Rexar will give the Hunter the ability to continually generate beasts, And one of the most important beasts you're trying to find is actually just Raptor Hatchling, to put more cards in your deck so you can't get fatigued by the Warrior, whose goal is to run you out of stuff. Well, you can't be run out of stuff because you have Rexar.
And another thing to note as well is how much damage Firebat can generate early anyways. Like this Bear Shark being unchecked and, you know, Dynomatic isn't guaranteed to pick it off could be a big deal if Firebat's able to stake it onto the board. And it ends up landing on the Secret Keeper instead, giving Firebat an opportunity to keep pushing with this Bear Shark.
Yeah, we actually see Purple kind of hand over mouth looking up. You got Rexar? You got Coin Rexar here? Because he knows how this goes. And he also, speaking of important cards in the matchup, drew Dr. Boom. Dr. Boom does give the Warrior the ability to also generate resources, which allows him to fight back on that same axis. And crucially as well, the rush on your mechs makes both the mechs that you generate potentially off of Discovery Drone as well as off of Omega Assembly into something that can be very powerful. Ziliax for Purple is a pretty reasonable draw here that can allow him, if he wanted to, just take this out. But he's going to save it, I believe, for actual life gain if he needs it later. Also wants to get his Hatchling down before potentially Firebat discovers silence effects, which could prevent him from getting the Direhorn Matriarch in his deck. And again, that fatigue battle is a very important one. See those numbers on the right side of the screen next to the decks? Those numbers will come to be very important in this particular game.
Yes. So for Purple, because we're talking a lot about how the Hunter wins this matchup a lot when the more they can hero power and play their minions. But there are a couple of really important pivotal turns for the Odd Warrior, and it is largely based around things like Ziliax. If you, say, play a Beryllium Nullifier and sticks on the board, you play Ziliax and you face this Manipulator. I've actually thrown away a lot of games against Odd Warrior when I have inevitability because of not respecting their ability to play a very strong board. And then you also mix in the fact that they have a lot of tricky removal tools and that they always have these weird mechs that they discover off Dr. Boom. Purple still has some game plan left. And also, you know, I was also in the seat playing with Admirable yesterday. I went 16 draws and didn't get a single Raptor once for the Stalker Rex, and I just lost in fatigue. And that can happen.
Purple picks up a Super Collider, which is one of the very important cards in the matchup. And in fact, the reason Firebat plays a copy of Acidic Swampoos in his deck. Super Collider can give you both value and tempo to take out the big beast your opponent's trying to build. Purple going to go ahead and take out the first one with a swing of Super Collider with that Dire Maul. One interesting thing in this matchup too, sometimes as the Hunter, and in fact, and against Warrior when you're playing basically any deck, sometimes you only want to play one minion, despite want to continue to pressure, whatever it is. Playing multiple minions can actually give them the ability to kill your stuff with Super Collider. Like that Dire Maul there, if that weren't in play, Purple would not have had a Super Collider swing that could actually clear that minion.
Firebat had a pretty wide range. You could have gone cheap for, early game, or sorry, cheaper for faster board tempo if you wanted to play quicker minions onto the board. Also could have went heavier with Nesting Rock, or even be a little bit cheeky with the Augmented Elic. However, I feel like the more often you pick Augmented Elic, the less chance you ever have of getting a Raptor Hatchling, because it just never, ever lines up like that.
Wait, you basically have to get Elic with Stealth and then get Raptor Hatchling Charge to get...
It's so ideal. That's the only reason why I feel like it doesn't happen, because it's just like, it's just so improbable. It's because there's a lot of beasts in the pool, which would introduce a lot. You just got a few from the Doomsday Project.
Firebat also wants to be aware of the potential of this potentially getting Zolid, so Purple gets additional cards to protect himself from fatigue, so does decide to clear this off with his bow.
Yeah, but with no development, this gives Purple an opportunity to play Dr. Boom. Because the problem with Dr. Boom against the big threat is the scariness of just letting your opponent destroy you with it.
It's true, though. Purple has a relatively low armor total right now.
Okay.
And sometimes you want to wait until you've actually built up a little bit of a buffer, particularly when you do have your Reckless Flurries remaining.
Okay, that's fair. Purple favoring the hero power. I like the restraint on shield block, because one of the only few tools that are in his advantage is utilizing his health total when it goes to fatigue.
All right, well, Corpse Widow, Prowler, Scaled Worm are the options.
Corpse Widow not great in this deck, but in Death Rattle Hunter ends up being very useful. So I imagine he picked a little bit of a cheaper option. And then, oh, he did end up picking the Corpse Widow. Guess he just wants max stats.
Yeah, there's all kinds of things that go into determining exactly how you want to set up your build to be. Sometimes you're playing for immediate impact. Sometimes you're playing for long-term value. We're early enough, and Firebat has enough life to work with that kind of just wants to play for things that purple needs to kill.
Yeah, it's true. As long as you play big threats every single turn.
Speaking of big threats, there's Baku once again. Super Collide the face.
Okay.
He's going to find Wandering, which, interestingly enough, will work with Super Collider. But the snakes, does it get collided into a snake or into the elephant? Bam. Snake down.
Yeah, it's the power of those secrets.
There is an MC Tech available for purple here. He could go for an MC Tech to try and steal the 4-7. And that is one of the ways you can kind of...
What about Zola? Okay.
I think you want to MC Tech first. See what you get. Ooh, got a...
Oh, no.
And he could... Is he going to Zola the Ziliax? Zola
That's a good question. I mean, Zola
MC Tech, interesting.
Because I was thinking about MC Tech originally because of how much it provides value to like denying your opponent the ability to build a board. But I was thinking about MC Tech Ziliax, and I was thinking like, well, you most likely will just have a mech that could eventually stick if you play Dr. Boom. So, like, why not have Ziliax number 2?
And here we see purple, playing out a lot of stuff because he recognizes, okay, against Rexar, I am the aggressor. I need to be the one who's actually putting pressure on my opponent. He can't just sit back and try and play the typical game of, I'm going to kill all of your stuff, because there's just too much stuff. So Firebat does know that there is an MC Tech, so he's going to consolidate to 3 minions, I imagine. Probably trading these 2 in and perhaps Houndmastering. If he Houndmasters, it's still in an awkward position against the Super Collider either way.
Right.
So I expect maybe he actually won't bother with the Houndmaster and just play for the board here. This does give a Super Collider trade onto both of them if he doesn't play something else.
Yeah, that's
you
the only
actually provide a perfect Super Collider here. So I imagine, you've got a Houndmaster.
You put it in the middle?
I think you Houndmaster in the middle here because purple can attack. He has to attack into the 6 attack guy, which obviously is more damage to him. And you potentially have your Flappy Bird actually survive.
Well, now there's an opportunity, what you're talking about. If you play Dr. Boom, you're always worried about your armor count for Reckless Flurry, but now purple has a way to utilize Reckless Flurry and then gain life right after.
Yep, and we see, I think we may see exactly what we mentioned. Wanting to get the usage out of your armor, does play the Dr. Boom, and now, especially going to 10 mana, now we can potentially also draw the Omega Assemblies and get the immediate rush on those with Dr. Boom.
Sure.
So, planning for the future.
Yeah, but Firebat also accounted for that possibility, whether it was Brawl or Reckless Flurry, so that's why he spent a turn developing slightly onto the board, but also can just refill with Spellstone or just a giant threat. The problem with Spellstone, again, is Super Collider is on the board for your opponent, so you just want to develop 1 minion like you were mentioning. Bear Shark, a really powerful minion too. The less that your opponent can interact with it, just shuts off their shield slams.
There's only a couple of shield slams in the deck. There's only 2 copies of shield slam in the warrior deck, so there's not that many targeted interactive cards. So Firebat is just going to go ahead and Spellstone here. He has seen 1 of the 4 major AoEs. There is a shield slam picked up. We're going to shield block. Azalina is an interesting card in this matchup. All right, well, one of the interesting things is Firebat could have chosen to just go ahead and not upgrade his Spellstone and play it, so there wouldn't be an MC Tech opportunity for purple there, but perhaps he is feeling like he's not going to be able to deny the possibility of MC Tech from purple for essentially the rest of the game, so he wants to just get that MC Tech out of the way, know that it's gone, and be able to potentially load up more threatening minions. One of the things that can sometimes happen when you're playing against Odd Warrior is you keep trying to play around various effects like Super Collider or MC Tech, and then eventually you can't do it anymore. So you're oftentimes, especially when you have Rexar and your resource count isn't really that under pressure, you're better off just forcing them to have it over and over, and eventually they run out.
Yeah, because if you have that infinite resource generation, you just want to trade resources down and simplify the game.
Right.
Which is a really powerful tool. Not even necessarily in just Hearthstone, but you play like chess, for example. People always talk about that. Simplifying the board state so that way you can corner your opponent a lot easier. There's a couple of small nuanced things that was going on as well. Purple attacking the leftmost minion, accounting for the possibility of Snake Trap #2 or Venom Strike Trap. It's just really important technical point.
Firebat playing Freezing Trap here into Microbots is a little strange to me. He knows that Purple has just hero power to break the Freezing Trap. It does mean that he can't immediately kill the Soundmaster.
Right.
But
he can just replay the minion, actually.
Yeah, he actually could, so...
Job done.
I mean, Purple even looks a little confused as well, because I don't think the damage on the row really matters.
No, it's not really a huge deal. I feel like that may have been just a little bit of a misstep from Firebat.
Yeah, or it could be that Firebat may be trying to free up his hand.
Could be. All right, well, Echo Rush on this fellow.
Jeez.
I got 2 Bear Sharks. And there's only 1 swing of that Fire War Axe left. Plus a delivery drone, though, so we'll see what the Doctor ordered. Oh, Doctor ordered a Mega Assembly. Ooh, okay, well, that's a lot of tools to take down these minions.
Yeah, especially because they have...
There's a Nullifier, as you mentioned. Nullifier can be paired up with a lot of different stuff to create some awkward situations for the Hunter. There aren't really targeted effects the Hunter has other than kill commands. There's no, like, Hunter's Marks in this particular version, but it does still give you a large body that can be difficult for them to deal with without poison.
Yeah, the only thing is we mentioned how Beryllium Nullifier is really powerful when you magnetic it and then you use Faceless Manipulator. Purple doesn't have that. He chose instead to play a lot more defensive tools like Big Game Hunter, the Mind Control Tech, the Ooze, the Fiery War Axe. So he's going to be reliant more on things like Aslan and Soul Thief to close it.
We see a stealthed Flappy Bird come down here.
That's brutal.
Purple does have a pair of Brawls, and he has some small minions he can play to potentially give himself the best odds of not getting Flappy Birded if he chooses to fire one of those off. But again, this is a game where there will be a lot of beasts that Firebat plays that will have to deal with.
Look at that respect for the Mecharoo.
Get that out of here.
This is pretty good brawl odds.
Yeah,
Purple.
we're seeing a 25% for the big beast to live.
Moment of truth.
I have not seen a disgusted expression from Purple, so I sort of assumed that it had won. Gonna go ahead and discover.
Hey, Missile
Pinata.
Launcher.
Ooh.
Yes. Missile Launcher is a card that Firebat was quite enamored with at the beginning of Boomsday Project. Ended up not bringing a single Missile Launcher despite having to hear his Missile Launcher rants week after week.
Venomizer plus Missile Launcher is really fun.
It is.
Super cool animation of all the missiles firing everywhere.
Yeah.
I do find it amusing that Firebat felt super clever for playing Missile Launcher and then Venomizer, and then it's just in the
It's
promo
in the promo,
thing.
really.
It's like, I figured out this awesome combo
Before
that they filmed months ago in a promo reel.
It is pretty funny. But I mean, that's part of what makes Hearthstone fun for even the casual players.
Yeah,
they make their own discoveries, and they're like, "Oh,
wow.
genius!"
I mean, when I actually first did that, I was just like, "Oh, this is so awesome."
Well, Firebat has his pick of the awesome beasts. The one thing you actually have to be a little bit careful about, and this is something that I've experienced as well, is if you do end up picking like some very late game defensive options, such as Bloatbat plus Poisonous, you actually have to be careful because of the threat of Azalina. And you end up giving your opponent the way to clear your unclearable board.
All right, well, that Thunder Rhino has got to die. That is one of the scariest possible things. Purple does have the ability to play out, say, the Pinata, run it in, use the hero power. He actually has pretty much only expensive mechs here. It's a bit unfortunate for him in terms of being able to clear off this entire board, but just
a little bit too pricey. Yes.
He could Pinata and Missile Launcher without hero powering. He could Missile Launcher attack the 3/2,
Okay.
Pinata attack the Thunder Rhino, give himself a board. The Missile Launcher ability clears off the last guy.
That's true. And then you don't have to attack with it.
This seems maybe he wants to save the weaponized Pinata for just being able to be a cheap way to clear off something. But this is doesn't deal with the entire immediate board.
Right. I just don't want my opponent to be able to capitalize on having an existing body if they have a Crackling Razor Maw again.
Yeah, especially because you can stitch together Crackling Razor Maws and keep getting more Razor Maws off of the Rexar hero power.
Yeah, one of the scariest combinations when they do that, and like with Echo, and they just keep like adapting it. It's seen it before with like Vicious Fledgling. It gets really nasty.
All right, well, Firebat, I didn't see the first beast he took. Scale Hide is always something that you've got on your mind. Looks like he took he actually took the Vile Spines. What is it? Vile Brood Skitterer?
Yes.
You got to know the name for like every single beast in the game.
We need to. Where's the ding for us, man?
Seriously.
You guys send it for the other caster.
There we go. There we go.
Thank you. Yes, this is the Mother Brood, if you will. This Corpse Widow, super scary, and anything purple runs himself into is going to die, which is why Poisonous is a pretty important minion, or sorry, important trait to have on all your minions, especially with Dr. Boom. Almost no mech that they can play will survive that.
Owl will, however, still take it down.
Yes.
Gonna recycle that Razor Maw, gain a little bit of life, get the Blast Shield up, gain some more life.
Yeah, there's still no light at the end of the tunnel yet for purple. It's just that he's waiting to see how this game develops. Firebat could hit a string of pretty weak Build-A-Beasts, and then purple has a chance to take tempo. That is a very low percentage chance of that happening, but you play to that out. And then Firebat, in the meantime...
The Raptor Hatchling.
Oh,
I think we're going to see that taken.
Yes.
Oftentimes, you'll want to take the Raptor Hatchling with cheap things to ensure that your opponent can't silence it. I actually don't know exactly how many. I think there's 2 owls in Purple's list. So we've seen, I believe, just the one right now.
Yes.
Though, hey, he didn't play one earlier. So in that case, Stealth also gives you the opportunity to get a larger minion that can potentially trade into something bigger, as well as protecting itself from the threat of getting the effect stealth, or rather the effect silenced, so you don't get the extra minion in your deck.
The stats also line up for a Super Collider. Actually, it still ends up dying. But, you know, the good thing is, like you said, Firebat plays a little bit of fatigue. Purple's going to need some help off of something. But maybe the weaponized Pinata can perhaps change a little bit of this.
He does have the Microbots, so he can definitely kill that with Pinata plus Microbots at the bare minimum.
Yeah, but then he still isn't dealing with the 7/6.
Right, he's still in a position where there's still a big board up. He could Microbots into Brawl. That gives him a
This would be a good time for a master plan.
60% chance of a good outcome, though could potentially just leave one of the big minions in play 40% of the time.
Could. Okay, looks like he's going for the Piano. I was thinking he could also play one of his more expensive mechs like the Brilliant Nullifier in this spot.
Grom,
That's one of the better outcomes for sure. Talk about how many weak legendaries are in the pool.
Yeah, could be big. There's no Whirlwind effects in Purple's deck, so there's no way for him to activate it and just punch for 10 that I can think of, at least.
I mean, yeah, there's like small ways you can damage it, but there's no convenient access.
One interesting thing is about this Discover here, Subject 9, often a poor choice in these matchups because you don't want to take the Secrets out of your deck.
Right.
One of the early matchups I played in this, I was like, I really want to draw Rexar. I'm gonna keep Subject 9, and then I played Subject 9 to thin my deck to draw Rexar, and then it's like, well, I got Rexar, but I lost in Fatigue anyway.
Yeah, exactly. You don't want... It's one of those reasons why you'll often see these players against Warrior or other decks that are similar not play Tracking. Even though it's like, yes, if you play Tracking, you get to Rexar faster, but you also, you know, decrease the amount of turns you can win the game.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy how much of a fight the odd Warrior deck can put up against this endless string of stuff. Even if you track it once, find your Rexar, sometimes you just still lose in Fatigue. even this game where Firebat played Rexar on turn 5. He is not, by any means just like the winner of this game yet. There's a lot that can still happen that can go Purple's way. Though right now, I would definitely say things are looking good for Firebat. There's Super Collider, which Firebat did play around a bit by positioning that Dire Mole in the middle.
Yep, and there's also a mech on board. So there is the possibility of some magnetic shenanigans with the nullifier, but it's not that great. So I think Purple instead just going to try and fight back for the board position a little bit here. Firebat not extending onto the board with Ravasaur Runt, even though the mind control techs have been played, just wants to play around the removal options, such as the second Brawl, or perhaps another Reckless Flurry.
So Firebat's gotten Purple down pretty low. It's funny to say 24 is low, but for Odd Warrior it is.
Yes.
So one of the key things once you force the Odd Warrior deck into Dr. Boom, or rather they end up going into Dr. Boom form, pressuring their life total and keeping them away from armor can help turn off their Reckless Flurries. So if Firebat is able to keep Purple at low or no armor, it means that the number of actual mass removal effects that he has that can potentially be effective are dramatically reduced. There's only a single Reckless Flurry left and a single Brawl, so if you can cut the Reckless Flurry off essentially as a potential mass removal effect, it can make it much harder for Purple to deal with the wide board build.
That's right. I was even counting Firebat's damage. He was 5 points off of lethal, so this is starting to come down to the wire. We're hyped up Fatigue so much, but I mean, Purple might just die if he's not careful.
And there's Shield Slam, so Purple not having that armor is huge at this point. He has the Zap Cannon rather than Blast Shield, so there's no way for him to turn on that Shield Slam. One of the big problems for Purple here is frankly that he's just gotten such expensive minions from his Omega Assemblies. He has the big fellow wins the Brawl, and that's going to be a problem for Purple here. He can throw a Hatchling in the way, but the Raptor Hatchling is the bigger Hatchling in this fight.
Yeah. Conventional wisdom would say, yeah, I want to have bigger mechs to play so I can combine them. I have 10 mana when I'm playing Omega Assembly, so I have room to spend it, but it's exactly what you just said.
Firebat does have the Skitterer / Tundra Rhino that can punch through this to get 7 in the face immediately. That actually puts him 1 damage off lethal with the... Oh, no, it's actually... That's just lethal, right? He can...
Oh, yeah.
Zombies plus kill command. He's not 1 damage off lethal because of the damage from the Tundra Rhino. This is actually just exact lethal damage because of this buff. And we said it would go to Fatigue. It went a while, but not quite that far, since Firebat was able to stitch together some powerful beasts to take game 3 of this match.
That's right. So Secret Hunter gets a win finally in this series. Firebat is currently up 2-1 with his Odd Rogue remaining. And this is something that I think we've ignored a little bit in our preface before the series began, which is Odd Rogue is the weakest deck in this head-to-head big margin.
By a lot.
And
Purple got the win with it immediately.
And that could be the difference maker as well. We're kind of talking about how, the difference between Token Druid or Odd Warrior bans, but Odd Rogue could struggle a lot against both the Odd Warrior and the Secret Hunter remaining for Purple.
Well, Firebat, he does have that Gluttonous Ooze we mentioned in his opening hand, so he's prepared for Super Collider, but that's not really what you want your opening hand in this matchup. You need to put pressure on them really fast, because the Odd Warrior has really strong tools if the game goes even remotely long. Eternium Rover or Framebot are available to Purple here. The Rover, fantastic at dealing with small minions and chipping away, giving you some life as well.
Yeah, that Rover is MVP for Purple, effectively an Armor Smith just to stall out the board and also just threaten Firebat. Like, if the Rover's not dealt with, it can just be magnetized and grow even bigger.
A lot of decks actually play Rover, so they just play at turn 1. And that turn 1 against an aggro deck, when you already have a deck that's full of a ton of great aggro tools, it's like, all right, how are you possibly going to win? Just attack this as your small minion, gain some armor, attack it again, gain some more.
Yep.
Oh, look, I'm just shield slamming anything.
Purple just trying to get his head back in the game here and put his head down just to grab a little breather, as he is one of the more expressive players you'll ever see.
Oh, I love watching Purple play.
Oh,
It's great.
He doesn't hide his emotions whatsoever. In fact, he has one of the most fun and heartwarming moments from the Summer Championships last year when he played against Tom. And there's like this counterspell UI interaction, which was pretty hilarious. Go back and watch it.
It was great. Not to be missed. Well, tank up. He could choose to shield slam this. Not really that threatening right now. Will be just the Eternium Rover. And this, if Firebat could kill this, he could pile some damage into it, but that would just give a bunch of armor to purple as well.
Right.
Sweet Deckhand Van Cleef wants to get enough threat on the board here to actually do more than the amount of damage that purple's hero power generates each turn.
Yeah. I think Firebat recognizes that the Eternal Remover is just going to gain armor anyways, and because Tar Creeper goes to 3 attack, it's going to be difficult for purple to attack into. Even in the worst case scenario, if your opponent coin magnetizes with Ziliax, it's not going to threaten your Tar Creeper because it's only at 4 attack, and your opponent doesn't even get the lifesteal effect, so it's not that big of a deal. The big card you're scared about turn 5 is either the Brawl or the Dynamatic. And it's not the worst case scenario if your opponent brawls, because you most likely have a minion stick and you can keep the pressure up.
Well, there's a Super Collider for purple, which Firebat may need to answer with that Gluttonous Zeus in a bit, but there is Shield Slam coming down to take out the Tar Creeper. This does set up Super Collider for next turn, so you may think, oh, we should take out the Van Cleef, threatening minion. However, by setting up this way, any minion that Firebat plays, he can potentially use against him with this Super Collider.
This guy's toast.
I was thinking about what's more valuable, the Blood Knight or the SI7 agent, and I think because of things like Ziliax.
I think it's only Ziliax that does exist for Divine Shield. There's no Giggles in purple's deck. Well, Super Collider here does take out both minions. Firebat does have the immediate answer with the Ooze, but not before this damage is done. We can get out another minion, perhaps with a Blood Knight.
Yeah, Saucy Deckhand has value in being held because of the Fungalmancer. So you can play this Deckhand with Fungalmancer and buff it, or perhaps remove things first and buff the board.
And purple has quite a few options here. He could just tank up Flurry to clear both of these, which prevents any kind of Fungalmancer shenanigans. Just going to Dynamatic, going to kill one of them, leave the other as one. This does allow a Fungalmancer to come down next turn, alongside the Deckhand, I suspect. But I mean, for purple is at 31. Firebat doesn't even have Myra's Unstable Element in his deck, so he has no real way to generate additional resources outside of just drawing cards from his deck. And you know, how much damage can any of these individual cards do?
I mean, he's going to still launch a counteroffensive, kill off this Dynamatic.
Yep, the Deadly Poison, so he's going to protect himself from any kind of trade here, but you know, purple has Brawl, purple has Tank Up Reckless Flurry. And I suspect that it will be what we do see. Wipe off your board, so 26 versus a Dire Mole.
Oh, man. That is going to be one tough job. Well,
all right.
He's not alone.
Got an Argent Squire, too.
That's what the Blood Knight was for, his own Argent Squire.
Yeah, between Dire Mole, Argent Squire, and his hero power, he can keep up with Tank Up.
he can even out the life totals every turn.
If purple never plays another card, he will keep him at 20.
Oh boy.
Well, there's Dynamatic. There goes that board. And yeah, we are seeing why this matchup is so favored for the Warrior, as purple is just dismantling board after board. Firebat knows that game's over. Let's go to game 5.
Yes. Firebat's Odd Rogue is going to falter here, but we kind of expected that. This is one of the worst matchups for Odd Rogue.
Firebat's, or rather the version of Hunter that these two are playing, they're playing pretty much the same deck, has 2 copies of Wandering Monster and 2 copies of Snake Trap, which makes the sort of early game defense that you do have from your secrets very powerful in this matchup, because Snake Trap by itself, they can just go to your face. But Snake Trap plus Wandering Monster means that you're often able to pick apart their board with those secrets while you build toward a Spellstone, which can really be where you swing the game.
Firebat keeping the Southsea deckhand. That's how important it is to have a turn 1 play on 1.
It's a very tempo-oriented game, and Firebat does have very strong hand in the early game. Firefly into hero power, into his choice of Fledgling or Thug.
Oh!
Spellstone is a draw for purple, but he has no turn 1 play. So he can fire off the Wandering Monster into the Explosive Trap and then coin out a Spellstone, which could be huge. But Firebat does have that Henge Clan Thug, which can get out of hand very quickly.
Yes.
Masahiro, a very weak draw for purple here.
Yep. It's kind of all about how long does it take for purple to stabilize and how much health will he have afterwards. I have no doubt that Secret Hunter will eventually win the board, assuming Firebat doesn't get a big Fungal Mancer which just comes into his hand. Ooh. This one is heating up.
It's this monster. All right, just a 2-3. It dies to the weapon, and Henge Clan Thug becomes a 4-4.
Yeah, it's about the average stats.
Or no, he's going to Vicious Fledgling. All right. This dies to Bo. I think that you want to play the Henge Clan Thug. I am not a fan of this play from Firebat here, because this exposes your minion to a very powerful just on-curve play from your opponent in Eaglehorn Bow. When if you play the Thug, you have a 4-4, and there's nothing in the Hunter's deck that immediately kills a 4-4. I think Firebat would be better served to play Henge Clan Thug.
Perhaps Firebat was maybe thinking about changing Purple's game plan, because with a Secret on 2 and a Secret on 3, they can coin out the Spellstone, and then you're really far behind. So perhaps this forces Purple off the Secret plan, gives him a turn to develop and stall, and then have a stronger Fungal Mancer board so that he can answer. What do you think about that?
I think that's an argument. I'm not sure I agree with it. Purple finds a Secret Keeper. He can Secret Keeper into Double Trap.
Yes. Double Trap is really powerful because it puts the Secret Keeper just outside the range of a nice Fungal Mancer trade. Not to mention, also complicates the board state a lot because of the threat of Snake Trap, Freezing Trap, Wandering Monster. Oh man, these are some really good draws on both sides, but I think Purple is about to clear the landing zone in just a second here.
Mushroom power!
Just because of the threat of the Venom Strike trap.
He's just not attacking.
No attack. I like that.
Ooh, Rexar is the draw from Purple here. So a fully upgraded Spellstone into a Rexar. Purple has all of the tools he needs to take control of this game. Firebat did not get in much early damage. Purple's still at 26 life.
Double Vile Spine. Oh my goodness.
Just hits back and forth.
That's what you want to see. Some fireworks. Southsea Deckhand, Vile Spine, or Deadly Poison Vile Spine, both very powerful in this position. Could squeeze out a little bit more value because it looks like Firebat's hand isn't going to just win him the game, so he might have to take this a little bit longer.
Just going to send it to face with this.
Yeah, test the secret first.
Well, he's going to find Explosive Trap, which will make him a little bit sad, I think, that he decided to go face first. Because now he knows this next trap is... Okay, he's actually just going to... All right. He does not care about any of these minions. I mean, he's still pretty sad, I think, that was an Explosive Trap and he couldn't get anything off here, but he is just going to push as much damage to face as fast as possible, which will make the Rexar that much more painful,
the Rexar
as it will clear off pretty much his board, as well as give Purple a big cushion in life.
Yeah, the 5 life here is not something to be underestimated. You might be thinking about the Battle Cry and how it's amazing to clear off the board.
Everything about this Rexar is huge. Yeah, Firebat, look at that face. He knows this has turned around on him. Bo and the Wolves can take out this board if he so chooses. He has a Venom Strike up, so with 23 life to work with, he could just push face if he wants. With Firebat can't attack into these minions.
I think time is on your side as the Hunter. Don't give your opponent the ability to cold blood and push back. Ooh, and this Henge Clan Thug still stuck in Firebat's hand. I think Firebat's trying to find the line out, but it is looking
I'm not sure there is one.
So if he is there even some way for him to get runner here to perhaps draw 2 cards back to back off the top of his deck to close out this game? I don't think so.
Yeah, Purple just had a very powerful start in Firebat. got his early plays answered by the trap and by that bow. You know, I wonder if this game might have played out differently if he had played that Hench Clan Thug on 3.
Right.
I'm sure there was, you know, a particular plan that Firebat had with the specific sequencing he had with his minions, but how he played it ended up working out very poorly for him because he has never been able to really connect with a meaningful amount of damage and really sort of keep this board under control.
Wow. Foul spine just to stabilize on board. I was thinking
He
about...
can't attack a minion either because he knows there's a trap there that will punish him for doing so. And now Purple just gets to build beasts.
I mean, cheap beasts are good to just develop some kind of threat. Purple could also just play his other 2 minions, Iron Companion and Secret Keeper, and just develop a board. The most important thing for Purple is also to give Firebat the least amount of time to come back.
Well, that's not giving him much time.
Yeah. This sets up the 2-turn lethal for Purple.
Which is 9 damage. Firebat down to just 8 life. 4 minions to the board, another bow in hand. There's no outs for Firebat. This game is over. Firefly certainly isn't it.
He's alive by what he sees, but with the Eagle Horn bow, that is going to wrap it up. Firebat hung in for as long as he could, but something we picked up halfway through the series was how will Odd Rogue be able to escape the series? Purple got the win against Secret Hunter, and perhaps that was the key for Purple to unlock the series for him, despite the fact that Firebat got that early lead.
Yeah, it's interesting, you know, these players choosing to have quite different ban strategies, despite having essentially identical lineups. And Purple's Odd Warrior that Firebat chose not to ban ended up really punishing Firebat's Odd Rogue, and he was unable to find a win with that deck.
Yeah, perhaps. I mean, to be fair, Firebat also got that token Drew to win pretty fast as well, and gives him an extra game for that buffer room.